The Evermore podcast is now sponsored by WFST Total Compliance. WFST provides fire safety requirements UK-wide to prepare you and your employees should the worst happen. Do what you do best and visit wfst.co.uk today. Enjoy the episode. Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to the Evermore YouTube channel. It's Chris back with, I can't believe I'm still saying it, the post-match reaction to Newcastle United's opening Champions League game against AC Milan in the San Siro. Brilliant draw for the lads, 0-0 draw. Never been so excited to have a 0-0 draw in my whole life, to be honest with you. I was watching it, biting my fingernails most of the game. The lads got over the line. Some worries, some scares. We're going to kind of run through it and just cover it as best we can. Quick little half an hour summary probably of the game and just engage you guys in the comments because we're live as always. Just before we do, a little reminder, if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing, smash that button. We've just gone over 5,200 subs actually, so Mark needs to sort this button out yet again. And if you fancy being a member as well, we do have a membership option there. We've a couple of you already signed up to that. It's only $1.99 a month, so less than a pint of Moretti, guarantee you. Certainly over in Milan, I bet you. Which there'll be many of them getting drunk tonight after that 0-0 draw. We'll have loads of goodies for you, early access to rant videos, etc., etc. So why not click it, come and join us. As I said, we're live tonight. Jump into the comments. We've already had George in the comments early doors. He says, I'll take that 6 ways to Sunday, Robo luck. But we were right all the way, proud of them, absolutely. And yeah, we'll get a man of the match in a minute, George, but me and you are on the same wavelength, Bonnie lad, absolutely. We've got the new monkey in there. Newcastle have 1 more point than everyone else in our 6 games, absolutely. Yeah, but off the mark, we've got a point. So we can't say we're finished with no points in the Champions League, which a lot of these pundits would have been saying. Even to you too, Ian, good to see you, buddy. We've also got Marcus there, not sure what's up with Isaac. Yeah, his mind's obviously somewhere else. Ugly game. There was some stories about Isaac. I don't know whether they're true or not. I'm not really going to talk about it, but he did look a little bit rusty tonight. I must admit, absolutely. We've got Sean there in the comments as well, saying, of course, a great point. Pope is safe as houses. He did look back to his best tonight, I must admit. Again, George is saying that's the toughest point you could have asked for to win, but we've done it, absolutely. We've got LPS saying we'll take those, no doubt about that. So let's get stuck in then. So obviously, if you were living under a rock or you didn't manage to watch the game, you know, your timing was absolutely horrendous. Here's the lineup for you. This is how we're lined up. Massive call in the lineup from Eddie Howe, sticking Jacob Murphy in that front three. I think most of us were saying Miggy would come back into the team. A lot of people were saying maybe Harvey Barnes would get another sniff, but no, it was Jacob Murphy that went in. And I've got to say, Jacob Murphy, what an image when they were lining up and the Champions League music was coming. They couldn't keep the smile off the lad's face. That's part of the beauty of Jacob Murphy, what everybody loves about Jacob Murphy. He's just like a fan, isn't he? But he couldn't contain that grin on his face. You could see the look on Longstaff's face as well. All the lads, you know, who supported the club since they were little ones, you know, getting to represent the club in the Champions League and wear that Champions League badge on the sleeve. You could just see how much they were buzzing by it. But I thought Murphy did quite well, to be fair. He was brought in, obviously, to help with that left-hand side with, you know, Theo Hernandez and Rafael Lau with the movement that they have on that left-hand side. And I thought Murphy did all right. I thought he worked hard. I know the game itself, you know, I couldn't sit here and tell you, you know, about loads of clear-cut Newcastle United chances because there wasn't really any, to be honest with you. I think Isaac come very deep for the ball, I think. A lot of the times, I'm not sure what that was all about, whether that was a tactic or what, I'm not too sure. I thought Tomori was brilliant for AC Milan. How that kid's not in the England squad ahead of Harry Maguire is beyond me, it really is. I thought he really showed them back up, obviously, from getting smashed at the weekend. But I think, you know, Newcastle made a really good fist of it. I think in the first half, outside of that kind of 5 minutes of madness where we made a couple of errors that allowed them to get back into the game. And to be fair, Rafael Lau, I think he was looking for the headlines on numerous occasions. I mean, that stupid back heel he did in the box. If I'm his manager, I would have absolutely annihilated him, to be honest with you, after doing that stupid thing. That was, if Maxi had done that, we would have ran him out of town, to be fair. I did see a lot of shades of Maxi and Rafael Lau, to be honest with you. Sometimes just doing the more difficult thing than the simple thing. And I think that, you know, we kind of, let us off the hook a fair bit, I think, in some chances. But I mean, man of the match straight off the bat for me, guys. I agree with George earlier on. I thought Kieran Trippier was absolutely world class. Absolutely world class. You look at our team, certainly in the Champions League, and I think there's some players in there, obviously the kids who've got Champions League experience, of players who've done it before. You've got like Fabian Schär, Sven Botman, who played for Lille. People forget Bruno, who's in the Champions League with Lyon. Obviously Trippier, with Spurs and with Atletico Madrid. But you look at that performance, and Keith's absolutely right. Just pure class, man. You look at that performance, and he just oozed class. He never rattled, didn't panic. His control, his ability, his touch, his movement, his tracking the runners who are way younger and quicker than he is. I mean, that bit at the end when he slides in and makes that challenge, and then he keeps it in play. And then Bruno then fucking puts the ball out of play because his head's gone, But yeah, Trippier is just such a brilliant footballer. He really, really is. And I was so lucky to have him. The only gutting thing about Trippier, I think, is he's 33 today. Happy birthday, Trips. What a great result that is, mate. What a great present that is for your birthday. But I wish he was 27, because the thought of having to replace that guy is just unbelievable. Really, really is. But what a footballer he is. I'm so glad that he is Newcastle United captain, and long may he reign doing it as well. Alan agrees with you, George. Yeah, Trippier was excellent. Absolutely. We've got Neil saying they looked exhausted, but fair play, got the point. Absolutely. John saying Murphy was great. I thought Murphy was brilliant. I really do. I think Murphy really put a good shift in. And to be fair as well, again, I thought Longstaff played quite well. There was times where he lost the ball and he looked scruffy with it. I mean, let's be honest with you, the Champions League is a bit beyond the levels of a Dan Burn and a Sean Longstaff. But I think Sean definitely grew into the game. I think he got a lot of ugly fouls. He rattled the Milan team a bit as well. And I think he did quite well in the game, Sean, towards the end. He covered so much ground. I've not checked his running stats, but I bet his running stats were through the roof, as always with Sean. And then at the end, he hits that absolute snorter, and he could have won it for us at the end, short of a brilliant save by the sub goalkeeper for AC Milan. So Newcastle are definitely in this game. There's no doubt about that at all. I mean, like I say, Tonali, I thought Tonali worked hard. I was actually quite impressed with Ruben Loftus-Cheek in a way, excuse me, with AC Milan. I always thought he was a bit of a busted flush at Chelsea, but you can see he's got some quality. There was times where he really ran at us, and it was a bit of a threat, was a bit of a worry, and I think Tonali had to really be his defensive best to get in amongst them and rattle him a little bit tonight. And I think that's why Loftus-Cheek went off knackered at the end, and I think Tonali was also knackered. I do agree with John as well. I think Pope was great. Did what he had to do. He's very lucky. I think a lot of the shots were straight at him, to be fair. I mean, I must admit, the Theo Hernandez for AC Milan, we did him covered him on a Rumour Has It video being linked to us for all of about 3 minutes. What a player he is, by the way, in terms of his ability to get up and down the park. But an Olympic gold medal diver, there's no doubt about that, because he went down like a sack of shit every 2 minutes, trying to win free kicks. And most of the time, the referee was given into it. But yeah, I thought he was a very dangerous player for them. Good comment there from yeah, TNT is shite, absolutely, mate. I did have to even the start of the game, Jermaine Genius and Joe Cole basically saying Newcastle were going to struggle even before we kicked the ball, to be honest with you. Not good punditry. They can change the name, but they can't change the fact that it's shit. To be fair, TNT. They're all shit, though. Sky shit, TNT shit. That's everybody watches fan-led media instead. There's other Newcastle United podcasts who do great match coverage. The only difference they're missing is the actual game on the screen. If there were, people would probably pay way more money to subscribe to them than they would do TNT and bloody Sky Sports as well. I agree with you, Sean. I think moving Isak to the left just didn't work. I think Isak looked knackered. He looked so tired. I don't know what's going on with him. I don't know whether he's just fatigued or whatever, but you could have easily hooked Isak off, I think, and put Wilson on, moved Mickey out to the right-hand side and had Gordon out on the left. I don't think that would have been a big problem. I was very impressed with Gordon again tonight. I think he was hungry. He looked to beat his fullback. He rattled the fullback for Milan. The captain got a yellow card and got hooked in the end. And I think actually his replacement, Forense, was more dangerous than he was in terms of an attacking threat. But Gordon again looked like he belonged on that European stage. He's not scared to turn and run at a man. Just didn't quite get the rub of the green today, but it's a promising sign for Gordon for his Champions League debut. It really is, and I think there'll be a lot more to come from Anthony Gordon, I think, on the European stage. Even you two antagonise, yeah, absolutely. Point away at San Siro, we all would have took that 100%. Do you know what it is, though, antagonise? I think you get a point to San Siro, right? However we rode our luck and whatever it may be, right? So we get a win against Brentford. If you get a point to San Siro, we get a win against Sheffield United, hopefully the weekend. And then we'll go into the Paris Saint-Germain game at home. There's no reason we can't beat them at home with that crowd behind us and the lads, having an extra 20% hooked into their veins from war flags and all that noise. You take Mbappe out of that PSG team. They're nothing great. They've got some decent players, but he's the standout. He's the player. The only worrying thing I think from tonight is you see Rafael Lau fuck around with it. Mbappe don't fuck around with it. Mbappe will just put it in the back of the net. And that's probably the only concern there. But going to some of the individual performances, I think I see Dan Burn worked hard, won loads of headers, some great challenges. Defensively, I think was good. Again, offers nothing going forward though. So those moments where you're looking for an overlap, just doesn't do it. There's times he misplaced passes to Gordon quite a lot. But if you were to play Lewis Hall in that position tonight, you don't know, Lewis Hall might get caught out defensively. So it's just one of those things. It's a real balancing act. But I'm not going to be too hard on Burn because it's a hard-earned point. In the back four, definitely have to take praise for that. Sven Botman, excellent again tonight. Great positional sense. Just a calmness at the back. I thought Fabian Schär really good on the ball as well. Not scared to run with it. Not scared to look for a pass. Trips, just brilliant man of the match, hands down. Bruno had moments as well. I think Bruno was in the game for moments as well. A couple of sloppy passes yet again, but there was times where he was getting back to his Bruno best, where he'd drop a shoulder, he'd run, he'd win a free kick. That one when he put a tackle, I think I was on now, and he just went, "Come on," to the crowd like that. It was brilliant. That's the Bruno that we want to see. So it's good to see these performances slowly coming back from Bruno. And I think Elliot Anderson did well when he come on as well. Again, he had energy, made some great challenges as well. A little bit of naivety, I think, when he instead of passing the ball and just keeping it in short, simple passes, he goes for that Hollywood through ball to Isak, who was totally fucked by this point and couldn't catch it even if he was on the back of a Harley Davidson. But I think Elliot Anderson is really coming on as a player. I think every single performance that he has, he seems to get better and better. And for me, that is a real promising outlet from Elliot Anderson. Irish Toonson Isak was knackered at 75. Yeah, he was, mate. He should have been subbed. I think because he's got a big game turning point kind of skill set, I think Irish, that's probably why Eddie kept him on. And fair play to Eddie for that. But I just think I think he could have been gone. Yeah, I think you're right. I think Miggy and Barnes had the legs, and I think that they should have come on really for Isak. And hopefully he's not carrying a knock or something, because he did look absolutely shattered. John is disappointed by Bruno. I think the problem is with Bruno, John, is we put the standards up so high from Bruno for the previous performances, and I think we're so quick to pull him down if he doesn't do one of those 5-star Bruno performances. But I thought he had spells tonight where he looked really good. I still think you got to remember that side as well, John. We're missing Joe Linton's energy, his press. It's just pure, animalistic bestiality in that midfield. We're missing Joe Willock's ability to get the ball up the park and find space and pop up with goals and use that pace. So we're missing two massive players in Joe Linton and Joe Willock there, and we're still getting a point at the San Siro. That is a positive result for me, a positive point. 100%. I'm buzzing about that. I really am. George is saying, can Milan sneak a point at St James's? Will give them a real atmosphere and amplified drums and PA system shy. No, I think they'll be worried about coming to St James. I think all these teams, George, will be concerned about coming to St James's Park, because it is an atmosphere, no doubt about it. And these Champions League nights, as people have been 20 years waiting for these, the atmosphere is going to be electric. Got Graham in the comments saying, great point. Milan, much better team, some great blocks and defending. There's no doubt about that. I think that Milan, on a more clinical day, would have put us to the sword, probably, Graham. But these kind of games in Europe, you have to defend hard. You have to defend like warriors, and I think the lads did that. I think having Botman back was huge. Playing the weekend as he did, and then coming in tonight and being as good as he is. Him, Trips, Shaw as well. Burn, great in moments defensively. Like I say, he lacks massively in terms of the other side. You look at Theo Hernandez on the other side, the way he's going up and down the park. Hopefully Lewis Hall can be that player for us soon enough. But Burn is great at those last-ditch tackle, those big long legs, and winning the headers that he won. I lost count him on the headers that he won. He must have won 100% of his headers. I think he went for, Burn, because he was absolutely fantastic from there. Coming out from Neil Longstaff penalty. If that was in the middle of the park, it's a free kick. Yeah, there was a couple of challenges on Longstaff that were questionable. You could have said maybe there would have been a pen. I think Longstaff, there was times with Sean, I think you're talking about the moment he went through. I think he probably could have stayed on his feet, maybe had a shot or tried to square. I think he was looking for it a little bit too much, which is why the ref kind of knocked it back. So, yeah, I think that's possibly what happened there. Antagonizer saying, Burn, fucking not with it looked like Mr. fucking Tumnus at times. Did you mean tumble? To be fair, but I mean, yeah, Burn is not an attractive looking footballer the way he plays the game, mate. But he does do the ugly stuff well, and it gets those tackles in when he needs to. Sean saying there's a huge gap between the back four midfield. That's where we're missing that number 6, Sean. There's no doubt about it. I know he was on the bench. We took the piss about Louis Miley, yeah, the little missing milk carton on Twitter beforehand. But I'd love to see Louis Miley drop it at that number 6 role and see if he could be a player in there. But it's a hell of an ask for a 17, 18-year-old boy in a San Siro. But he is a cracking player, to be fair. But but it's a hell of an ask for the kid to come in the Champions League and do that. George said we need to put Burn on the bench when Hall is ready. We really do. Sorry, I'd love to see Hall at the weekend against Sheffield United. The time has got to be coming soon. He's on the bench tonight, so obviously Eddie is want to have him in the squad. But I think it's it's going to come soon, George. I really do think that, mate. Mark is saying we took a point from last season's semi-finals. Great result, absolutely fantastic. But that is a fair point, very good point, Mark. Brilliant play by Trips, Marcus. Absolutely, yeah. Trips was world class tonight, absolutely brilliant. You're right, and Mark's in the admin. Sean was so close to winning it. 100%. That shot at the end was probably one of the cleanest strikes I've seen Sean hit. In all fairness. But again, he just lacks that little bit of moment of kind of calmness, doesn't he? His head goes a little bit on that one. We've got Kenk in the comments. Good to see you too, mate. George again saying to hold your own against Milan, got to be worth a PL start now on the right. Murphy. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, Murphy's been lucky not to start. I was quite impressed with Miggy when he come on. I mean, that challenge he did towards the end probably saves us a point. No fairness to Miggy Almiron, he probably won't get the headlines for that. It was some challenge. The ground he covered up to make that challenge was incredible by Miggy. So massive respect to him for that 100%. We've got Kabir saying, thanks, Newcastle team. Yeah, absolutely. I agree, George. Loftus-Cheek was quite good, to be fair. Where's Mark? You got me, mate. You don't need Mark. Mark's somewhere in the background. God knows what he's doing. He's probably chasing that cat around the house like fucking Benny Hill sketch or something to try and stop him from smashing up his house. All the pies, yeah, Trips and Pope world class tonight, 100%, mate. Couldn't disagree with those comments. RG Fox over the moon with that AC quality team and the tune of learning to snog the big lasses. It did well. Very good, very good. That is right, chasing the podcast, George. Yes, I'm trying to catch up here, mate. Absolutely trying to catch up. Mark is in the admin room there, just to remind you all. Yeah, if you can drop a like on the video and subscribe if you're new, we'd love you to do that. Thank you so much. Got Brian saying Pope man of the match for him. Yeah, I mean, fair play the saves that he made. You can't deny him that. I think he was brilliant where he needed to be. You need your goalkeeper to stand strong, stand tall. He's a big lad, and he did that. And I think it'll do his confidence the world of good as well, Brian, because we need Pope at his best, in the Premiership and the Champions League to take us to where we need to be, mate. We've got Dynamics details and great result considering our league form. Hopefully that kickstarts our season. Yeah, I agree with that, Dynamics. I think maybe the Brentford game, as stinking as it was and as ugly as it was to look at, might be the catalyst, a bit like Leeds was that season for us for staying up to push us on to to bigger and better things. Alan saying Lewis Hall is more than good enough and fit enough to replace Burn. Dan's distribution was below average in my opinion. He gets caught off the pace as well. I don't disagree, Alan. I've got a real problem with that with Burn. I think his character's incredible. I think he's a top bloke. He's a great ambassador for the area and the way he gets the club because he's a local lad and all that stuff. But in terms of raw football and ability, especially when you're playing against the creme de la creme of European football, you need some pace and you need to be able to move quicker than that and use the ball better when you get it, especially when you're up against it. I mean, if it was me, obviously depending on how Lewis Hall fares in the Premier League, I'd be more inclined to start Lewis Hall against Paris Saint-Germain, give them something to worry about us going forward rather than catching us on the left-hand side, which has been definitely targeted as a weak point for Newcastle United by opposition teams. Yes, trolls get in, absolutely. Gary said he thought Tonali was magnificent tonight. I like that. Nice little play of words there, mate. But I think for me, Tonali's finding his way in this team, this squad, this league. Big emotional night from tonight. I thought he played very well. Given the all the noise and the focus and everything else about him before the game, I thought he did really well. He did very well to nullify Loftus-Cheek, who was very dangerous. When he's fit, Loftus-Cheek can be a very dangerous player, but I think tonight he did quite well there. Maggot saying, good point. We're happier than them, just worryingly creativity. Isak is better on the left and Wilson through the middle. Need to stick with this. Isak up top is pointless. Isak up top is good. when he's fit and firing and we give him the ball. I think, again, going back to Willock as well, you go back to that assist against Spurs and the way Willock plays, his ability to burst up that left-hand side and cut it back, that's bread and butter for Isak. And I think he's lost a bit of that in the game. Obviously, Bruno's not performing at his levels. Joe Litton's out the side. So he's a bit starved of service, I think, is Isak. And he needs that when he plays through the middle, whereas Callum can score scruffy goals and rattle defenders and tap one in, like he did, bullying the keeper at the weekend, and that ridiculously outruled goal. That's not really Isak's game. I mean, they come in deep and getting the ball. It was very what Harry Kane was doing at Spurs towards the back end of it, and I didn't like it. I wanted him to be on the shoulder making those runs, but nobody was finding him. So I think it was more frustration why he dropped so deep, I think, to get the ball. So hopefully, that'll change against the likes of Sheffield United when Isak gets a bit more space. You're right, David, PSG haven't been great. They're very much a team in transition. They've lost Messi, they've lost Neymar. Obviously the whole furore and unpleasantness around Mbappe, shall we say, in the summer, seems to have calmed down. And he's still a brilliant footballer, but he doesn't want to be there. You can see he doesn't want to be there. He's just, keeping his feet warm for Real Madrid, and I really think if we're getting amongst them, we've got a really good chance, mate. I really do believe that. We've got Ian in the comments saying we rode our luck, but ultimately it's a results game, and a point is a fantastic result, 100%. Don Melvin saying great result, but sorry, mate, that was a shocking performance, like Bruce Ball at times. Well, to be fair, if Bruce got a point in Milan, I'm even give that knacker some credit, I think, mate, to be honest with you. Got Les in the house, good to see you, Les. Quick hello, absolutely quick to you as well. We've got a comment from as a Jabby Dogger. We are really poor to watch this season. Could have been 7-0. Fantastic credit. Results, sorry, considering we played poor. I don't know if it would have been 7. I mean, Milan were quite rash with their shooting, I think. It could have easily been 3 or 4-0, maybe in the first half if Lau hadn't stopped pissed around with it. I think we'd been a bit more direct. We could have been in real trouble, to be fair. But hey, it didn't happen. We stuck into the game. We didn't really have moments in terms of an attacking threat. But I think defensively, we were really good. So for me, I just think that was that was something to be proud of. We've got a donation there as well from Roadblock. Thank you very much for your £2. Newcastle top of the group of death. Come on, absolutely, Roadblock. It's great to see, and thank you very much for your £2 donation, mate. Really appreciate that. Vincent is saying, "How is it going, Chris?" Yeah, good, mate. I'm very happy with that. Very, very happy with that. I was probably the most worried out of the Evermore team in terms of the group of death. Everybody was all dead excited, and I was really, really worried about it. But after seeing that performance tonight, after looking at the teams maybe a little bit more pragmatically, maybe I'm not as doom and gloomy as I once was. But yeah, for me, I'm excited about the next game. Bring on Mbappe and the rest of them. Ian thinks Bruno was man of the match. Fair play. It's different how we can all look at a game. I think Bruno did grow into the game a lot in the second half. I think he played really well. We're slowly starting to see that coming back into his game. I do agree with that, Davey. I think Sean needs to stay on his feet a bit more. There seems to be a bit of that going on with him. Very continental type playing. He's got such an engine and he's such a good runner. That one in the first half, for example, I think he could get a shot off. I really do. A bit like the Southampton game, really, when he was in that position. But that's something that Sean needs to learn quick, I would say, certainly in the European game. And it'll help the likes of Sean and Anderson. It'll help educate their game playing in these kind of fixtures as well. Taylor saying Bruno needs to be more disciplined and just needs to be the holder in these games. Byrne felt it tonight. Yeah, I definitely agree with that. He gave the ball away more than I could count. Yeah, there was times where Byrne, I think, put us under pressure. I think that moment where we went from being really in the game in the first half to being up against it for about 5 or 6 minutes, I think it was Byrne that gave it away, and we just couldn't recoup it. And I do like Byrne. It sounds like I'm taking him out all the time, but he's, he is a limited player for us. He's you can't measure the size of his heart and his commitment and everything else, but his ability on the ball, his touch, his control ain't great. He's a brilliant last ditch, throw himself in front of anything type of defender, and you need those defenders at times. Tonight, at times, we needed that defender, so I'll give Byrne his credit for that. But yeah, in terms of his quality going forward, I'm not convinced, shall we say. I am not convinced at all. So bear with us. I'm just having a little look here at a few other ones. Oh yes, we've got a new member as well. RG Fox, I think, is a new member. Just become a member. So thank you so much, RG Fox, for clicking that button and join us. What have you got to say here? Here we go. Right, so I'm just trying to keep up with the buttons here, mate. So Fox saying what we should do in your football and kid minds, lads. Point v man is top. Absolutely, it is a great point. I think we should maybe stop worrying so much about it. And how ugly it was, and just the fact that it, as Malcolm says, it was superb defending. And that for me is exactly what you need to do in this group. No doubt at all. No doubt at all. I think 100% that's what we're going to do to get through to the next knockout stage of this competition, really, is to defend like lions like that in games like that. That you don't get through a group of death by battering people 5 or 6-1 like we did against Spurs last season. You get through a group of death by defending. As Phil says there, Herculean performance, great result against one of the best teams in Europe. And they were semi-finalists last year. Can't believe some people are still whinging. I think it's just football, mate. I think we all have those moments, I think, where we think things could be better and everything else, and but that's the world of football. That's why we love it. Jamie said, excellent result for the lads, but we really are lacking any potency going forward, in my opinion. We really haven't shown any cutting edge since the game against Villa. We're not maybe as dynamic as we were last season, but I think a bit of that is us getting found out as well, mate. So we have to come up with a plan B. I think Anderson is certainly giving us something off the bench. He's looking better and better. I think you could play in the front three or in the midfield three. So that is a good option to have off the bench. The fact that Miggy can be rotated between Barnes and Gordon as well gives us some more legs off the bench. So I do think we have better squad depth than we had previously. So that is a good thing. We've got the pop images saying Milan will be devastated by our defensive performance. We gave 100% by every player. Amazing result. It is an amazing result. It really is. And I think that's the key here. That is definitely the key, where we have to look at the result and just say that is an unbelievable result. Nobody would have given us a chance there whatsoever. Great result. We'll beat them at St James's Park. Trips Man the Match, Dr. Hot Tub and the Hot Tub Factory. What a brilliant name that is. Did you ever hit in the 80s or the 90s, mate? That is absolutely superb. Love it. Absolutely love that. Got a comment there from J7. Yes, hi to you too, J7. Thank you very much for watching. Two tickety boos, guys. I'm just going to get rid of somebody in the comments. Bish, bash, bosh. There we go. Somebody has just mentioned that and reminded me, and they are gone. So Adam is saying Sean handled himself well. His off the ball work is immense and makes Bruno shine more. Yeah, me and Mark said that on what's going on as well. Yes, sabotage. Give Sven Botman the keys to the city. Sven Botman is unbelievable, mate. Best defenders we've ever had. Bruno was good despite a few mistakes, says George, which were minor. Les is jumping out. Yeah, catch up with you too later, Les. Thank you so much for jumping in. I think we've got another one there as well. Goodbye to you. Somebody else. I think it's the board Mackham's here in the comments, I think, guys. So I'm just doing my best to shift a few of them out of the way because I can't be asked for any of that shit, to be honest with you. Good comment, actually, George. Yes, if you can all like the video, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. What else we got here? Another comment from RG Fox. Isaac was outstanding, following his orders, man. Drop it in and fuck off. Yeah, absolutely. I think there's a few naughty mischief makers in the comments, I think, Fox. So I wouldn't worry too much about that. Pop Images is saying that we had, the front three had them on their heels, absolutely. Just relentless pressing, I thought. I loved it when the keeper was taking the short goal kicks and there was 3 of them on the edge of the box. Was just absolutely class. It really, really was. Just that's the Newcastle that we love, isn't it? That's Newcastle that Eddie Howe has basically set us up to be. As Gary says there, we must remember we're playing Milan at San Siro, not Peterborough. We did excellent. What a great effort. Too right. Absolutely right. Great result. Tonight looked like he was going to his ex-girlfriend's wedding tonight. Yeah, well, he was always going to be a little bit emotional, I think, mate, to be honest with you. But I thought he did really well. I thought he played absolutely well, to be fair, for given the magnitude of the game. Sensible Monica saying he's not sure where our press and cutting edge have gone, but that was a ballsy performance. It was a very different Eddie Howe and Newcastle, I think that was tonight, mate. And I just think it's something that it's nice to see it's in the locker, to be honest with you. It's nice to see that it is in the locker, that we can do it. And I've just got you down there. Fox is a new member, as I said. I'm playing catch up. Thank you so much for becoming a member, mate. Really appreciate that. Yeah, George is saying we've got a Fox in the box. First name Rule. Love it, mate. What a little busy player he was, by the way, Rule Wax. Absolutely. He's from Ashington as well. Ashington with the Leeds. Love it, mate. Absolutely love it. Peter says there, could have nipped it at the end. Great save. Absolutely. I thought that was... it just showed you we were still in the game, I think, to be fair. Right at the end there. And I think, you know that you've got to say that the lads who have stepped in, as I say, missing Willock and Joe Linton is huge, and Sean coming in doing a great job again. I think tonight. Remember, he was out injured as well pre-season. He's still catching up, probably match fitness wise, to everybody else. But I do think that he'll get better and better as the weeks go on, Sean, because that's the kind of player that he is. And Anderson is looking better and better every single time he comes on. So I've got a little bit more depth there. So for me, yeah, I'm quite happy about that. Even though the fact that we missed Willock and Joe Linton, I think that the lads put in a really good shift there. To be fair, we've got a comment there all the way from the States. Alexander Allard, good afternoon from Houston. We played good enough and we worked hard for the draw. Good for us, bad for Milan. Yeah, massive shout out to you, mate, in Houston. I hope it's all good over there. Thank you very much for joining in. But yeah, I just think it's like I say, it's a great point. You can't say anything else than a great point. We've got Billy in the comments. Yeah, Billy, who is very famous from another podcast. Billy, good to see you, mate. Very brave performance from the lads. This campaign goes on. Hopefully, we can do more offensively, emotionally drained, but very proud lads. Me too, mate. I'm wiped. I won't be on too much longer because I'm absolutely wiped. So yeah, I just think we should be dead proud of the lads, to be fair. Yes, I've got a comment here. One of my mates said there's Pat Nevin in commentary in a foreign language. Come on, BBC Radio, you better. One of my mates messaged me. He was looking for a stream and he only could get was Pat Nevin. So I think he was really upset about that, to be fair. So just a couple of more performances, guys, then we're going to nip off. We've got Colin, who's another member in the comments. Good to see Colin. Eddie would have ripped their hand off at the shoulder at 5:45 if he was off at a point. 100%, mate. Absolutely. And as Pete says there, a point is a point, poor performance, but hopefully we can improve on it. Clean sheet away from Milan has got to be a confidence booster. No doubt about it at all. Got one more coming out. We've got a lovely little donation there for Sensible, Monica. Thank you so much for whacking the fiver in, mate. Really appreciate it. We said we want a team that tries. Well, despite one or two shortfalls, we certainly have that. So let's enjoy it. Absolutely, mate. That is a great comment to end, I think, on this one. There's no more to go in there. Yeah, I think we're all pretty much done and dusted there. So yeah, thank you very much, everybody who's jumped into the comments. Again, it was just a quick one. As I said, some new names on there, so you know what to do. Smash that button. Come and subscribe. You're more than welcome here. Come and join this community. It's a great community. All comments are welcome. Unless you're a bored Macam troll, then I'll maybe look at them in the background and he'll be out the door. It's very momentarily, to be fair. But yeah, mostly comments are welcome, as I would say. We always pull up comments. We don't ignore people. It's not the kind of channel that we are. There's a membership option there as well. If you have just subscribed and you fancy clicking that, like a couple of you have done already tonight as well. So we really appreciate it. We're going to be back with some more match previews for the Sheffield United game coming up this weekend, and we'll be back with another post-match. So thank you very much, guys. Keep it evermore. Have a cracking night, whatever you're doing. Enjoy that point, and we'll catch you all later. Cheers now. Bye-bye.